we got two things to talk about. We've got the MPG cap, and I think all of you are familiar with that. And we've got the MPG booster, and that is the new liquid form of the MPG cap. The things that I'd like to talk about is what is it, how does it work, prove it, and then will it work in my car? That's really the bottom line. What it is, that pill that you have that you're selling and the liquid that you will have is a combustion catalyst. And that's not exactly true, because what you've got is the way to get the combustion catalyst. It's the precursor. And you put it in the fuel just because the fuel goes into the engine, into the combustion chamber. And what happens when it goes in there is it liberates the catalytic material that is then deposited on the piston face and the fire deck, which is the head, the top of the engine, and in fact on the spark plug. And one of the few things that I think are memorable and worth taking away from this meeting, what I'm saying today, is that your best salesman is the spark plug from your customer's car after they've done the conditioning. Because when they pull that spark plug out, it'll be red. That is the reason that it's effective in their car, and that's all you need to know. We will take care of, the Home Office will take care of the proof, Federal Trade Commission, the proof for the EPA, the proof for the government, and it's a total waste of your time to try and become a chemical engineer that's invested 37 years in proving that this thing works. What a combustion catalyst does is this. This is a pit fire in Norway, and it's in exactly the same amount of crude oil in both pit fires. This is without the catalyst, and this is with the catalyst. Only difference, except it was a little bit lighter day, so they had to adjust the, because there was so little smoke, they had to adjust the focus on the camera. That's why the sky looks darker. They were trying to show what little smoke, just that there was some smoke left. That's what a combustion catalyst does. There are only three things that MPG cap, MPG booster does. Three things. The first thing is an immediate thing, and that is an increase in octane. That's the first thing. And then a little bit after that, that's immediate. That happens as soon as you put it into the tank, immediate increase in octane. Second thing is it removes carbon deposits from inside the engine. And that takes a little bit longer. That's what the conditioning period is. And then after you've done that, you wind up with the real benefit. And the real benefit is 10%, not 20%, not 30%, not 40%. We've tested this, I've tested this for 37 years. And in every reasonably controlled, precise test, it's 10%. 10% isn't bad. 10% on a 20-gallon tank, to fill a 20-gallon tank at $2.50 a gallon, that's $50. 10% is $5. You're offering them a pill at $2 that saves them 10%. Do any of you have any investments that will give 150% return? I don't, and I'd like to hear about it if you do. This is the inside of, happens to be a Mercedes engine that was run, and it shows the piston faces. It's got the head taken off after 25,000 miles usage of the MPG boost. And you'll notice that there's carbon up here, and this is now 25,000 miles after continuous use, proper use of the MPG boost, and you see the red color. That is what gives the benefit. It's not the pill that you are selling. It's not the pill that your customer is putting in the fuel. It's what happens to that pill after it dissolves, when it gets in the combustion chamber and goes through the flame combustion. It's deposited on the piston face and fire deck, and that red coating is the source. You can take that piston, I've done this, you can take that piston out, you can pass a hexane air mixture over it, and that piston will give 100% conversion to carbon dioxide. And that piston will give 0 conversion to carbon dioxide. It is catalytic. Okay? So that's what it does. This is why it does it. That picture is taken with an atom force microscope. This is 1.3 million times magnification. And those little haystacks are 60 angstroms high and 120 angstroms wide. That is nanophase catalyst iron. That's really good news because every car and truck exhaust has the highest content of any metal is iron because they're built out of iron, amazingly enough, and it's a wear metal. And so we're not contributing anything unusual to the exhaust. And that nanophase structure is what causes the catalytic combustion benefit at the piston face and fire deck. That's why there is no benefit immediately. You've got to understand that. Once you do that, you've got this. And once you've got that, you have the improved fuel economy. Measuring that is next to impossible. I'll explain that. That's the key part. This is a customer return spark plug. And you know why they returned it? Because it was red. Spark plugs aren't supposed to be red, and they were absolutely right about that. Spark plugs aren't supposed to be red. They're supposed to be black and smelly. This is completely clean. It's red on the electrode and red on the shoulder. That is the catalytic base of action. If that red coating is present in your customer's car, and it will be if they use the product properly, they will get the fuel economy benefit. And it'll be 10%, not 20%, not 40%. Some cars will show larger numbers. Some cars will show smaller numbers. This is the heart of the matter. This is a spark plug core nose. The core nose shows the iron coating down to this level. However, that is a totally non-conductive coating. It's an insulating coating. And that white stuff is porcelain, which is an insulator. And that little black thing in the center was the electrode. That's carbon or platinum. And that's what's supposed to conduct the electricity. These red spark plugs have been gotten back in reasonable quantity by Champion and AC, the two that I've talked to. Bosch won't talk to me, but the two that I've talked to are Champion and AC. And they've gotten quite a few of these back. And they know when they get them back that there is absolutely nothing wrong with their electrical performance. They're just red colored. And the reason they're red colored is the use of our product. If it's red, he's getting the 10% benefit. If it's not red, he's not using the product properly, and he's not getting the 10%. This, just to kind of complete the story, these are oxygen sensors. And all cars have 2 of them now. They used to have just 1. And these control the engine. And this came back as a customer complaint also. And lo and behold, it was red. It was red on the outside, and the catalyst, which is zirconia, was shiny silver and 100% active. We had oxygen sensors tested by the manufacturer, and the red oxygen sensor tested as equally effective as the top 5% of the manufacturing range of oxygen sensors. It does not deteriorate in any way oxygen sensor or exhaust catalyst. In fact, 50,000 mile testing, which is the catalyst durability test, 50,000 mile testing with the MPG CAPS technology showed an improvement in all 3 exhaust gases, hydrocarbons, carbon dioxide, and oxides of nitrogen, when the MPG boost was used versus the exactly same car run at the same time where it didn't use the MPG boost. So it was an exact apples-to-apples comparison. Improves catalyst performance, does not deteriorate spark plug or oxygen sensor performance. Red is good. We like red, right? Okay. Prove it that this product is different. It's not like those other 100 products that EPA has tested and the magnet, one of the very few that the Federal Trade Commission has had taken off the market. This one actually works. And the way they can tell it works is it will give them something absolutely unique in the fuel additive and catalyst industry. And that is, if you pull out the spark plug, it's red. And that red is not paint, it is the catalytic coating, and that's the reason it works. Double-blind statistical study. I used to work, in fact, when I first did this development, I was working for a pharmaceutical company. They insisted that we prove it. So we did with their sales fleet. And it was done in 1973, 270-car national sales fleet. That means that the cars were operated by salesmen all over the United States. And we split that fleet into 3 groups. One had what's called a placebo, which means that they got a sample of a liquid that looked just like the other 2 liquids, but it was nothing but a solvent, could do nothing to improve fuel economy. The second one had a detergent in it that cleans up the fuel system. Back then, that was thought to be important, so we wanted to see what a detergent did. And then the MPG boost formulation in the third. And then they did a 1,380-mile dose at a single concentration to condition the engine, and then the final 4 weeks showed with the placebo, the solvent that could do nothing, it showed nothing. No change, less than 1%. The detergent, which maybe should have done something, it did absolutely nothing on highway. Very, very typical. MPG boost, amazingly enough, 9.3%. We did another test in 1995. The full fleet of 1,600 units, and this is the percent change month by month in fuel economy, and this block is when they used 1 month of the MPG boost at the conditioning, and then 3 months with the normal usage rate. And what you see is it bounced up to 10%, and then they stopped using it. Does anybody here remember why this stuff works? Anybody remember? Does it have to do with a catalyst coating on the piston? And do you think it's possible that if you stop using that catalyst precursor, that maybe that catalyst coating might last a little while? Does that sound reasonable? It's exactly what happens. And then it went away completely. The benefit went away completely. You have to keep using it. There's no free lunch. Okay? Anybody got that? This is really the bottom line. All of your customers, most of your customers, save maybe your mother and your brother, will want to see it work in their car. And they can. But the way they can is to look for that red spark plug. It's the end of my story, and I'm sticking to it.